Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge. Sometimes in football we get moments that transcend any result or any game, and we've certainly got that with Mo Salah's explosive interview after the game against Leeds last night. Effectively a quit speech, really. Feels that he's been treated badly, feels like he has no relationship with the club, and an interview at a time where I think you have to make a decision. Are you behind Salah or are you behind Liverpool on this? Because this is a player straight after a result that hasn't gone your way, that has made it completely about them and completely about the way they've been treated. Now, we had a Cristiano Ronaldo interview with Piers Morgan a few years ago that was very big, and I witnessed that as a Man United fan. But that wasn't straight after a game. We did have Ronaldo walking down the touchline with a couple of minutes to go because he hadn't been brought on. But Mo Salah's interview, and we'll get into it, is very, very divisive. It's almost Player FC against Club FC with a little bit of, niche to it. Look, Mo Salah is one of the greatest players we've had in the Premier League. He's also a legend of Liverpool. And the sad thing about this is anything that jeopardises that, because you've got to make a decision. What he said after the game is, I've said it many times before that I have a good relationship with the manager, and all of a sudden we don't have any relationship. This is straight after a game. This is a game where Liverpool have scored 3 goals and conceded a lead of 2-0 and 3-2. I don't think, unless Mo Salah is a really good centre-back, he makes a massive difference in that game for a start. So straight after a very disappointing result for Leeds, he's out there making it about him and not about the team. He says, I don't know why, but it seems, how I see it, that someone doesn't want me at the club. It seems like the club has thrown me under the bus. This is how I'm feeling. I think it's very clear that someone wanted me to get all of the blame. The club, I will always support it. My idea will always be that my kids will always support it. I love the club so much, and I always will. It is not acceptable to me, this situation. I don't get it. It's like I'm being thrown more under the bus, and I don't think I'm the problem. I've done so much for this club. I don't have to go every day fighting for my position because I earned it. I'm not bigger than anyone, but I earned my position. It's football. It is what it is. And there is more there. I mean, he goes on to mention Haaland, etc. But look, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I think you've got a very angry player there who realistically probably should have waited a little bit. To do that to the press, the gathered press, after the Leeds game at Elland Road is really, really difficult. Now, he does go on to say that he'll be there at the next game at Anfield to say goodbye before the AFCON, and who knows what happens after that. But I think that, look, there is so much to get into here. But my initial feeling is, and look, it's about Liverpool football fans. It's a little bit like Trent, isn't it? It's your club. You make the decision. We're allowed to observe it from outside. And ultimately, if Liverpool fans decide they're with Mo Salah, it's their club. They're right. If they decide they're on the fence, if they decide they're not on Mo Salah's side, it's the Liverpool fans that matter around this. But we're all going to have our opinion on it. My opinion is that I cannot ever be unhappy with a player that's unhappy because they're not being picked. Because that's probably what puts Mo Salah and Cristiano Ronaldo up where they are. That determination to train, work hard, and be the best every single day. And when you're sat on the bench watching your team not perform, you're going to believe that you can change that. Absolutely. So you can't be critical of a player that loses it and makes it about them in the sense that they feel that they're better than everybody else and they should be playing, because that's what their career is all about. And this is where other people around them need to sort of go, okay, let's just take a beat. Because what he's done after the game there, I don't care about Mo Salah. If I'm a Liverpool fan, I care about the Liverpool result. And having looked at Liverpool over the last few weeks, we've spoken about Mo Salah being dropped, and I agree with it. I don't know whether Arne Slot's the right guy for Liverpool. I don't think this is about Slot versus Salah. I don't think sacking Slot and putting Salah back in your team instantly makes you better, and I'd be concerned if it did. I mean, I have seen that at United where Mourinho gets sacked and suddenly a few players start playing better, and you sort of go, oh, okay, so you do turn it off and you do turn it on. I don't think Mo Salah's that. I think if Mo Salah starts playing like he did last season when Slot's sacked, you'd go, oh, okay, so you weren't actually putting it in. And I don't think Salah's that. So I don't think it's about Salah against Slot. I think this is about a player that justifiably has been on the bench. And we watched that game against Sunderland on Wednesday, and he came on at half-time, and he was still as bad as he was before. So, you're almost saying you are bigger than the club, that you shouldn't be dropped. And look, maybe other players should be dropped. Andy Robertson's been in and out of the team. Van Dijk maybe should be dropped. Konate maybe should be dropped, but they don't have any other centre-backs. Salah's been dropped, probably thinks he's undroppable. He hasn't played well. He's come back in the team, he's not played well. He's not played a minute yesterday. Probably feels really hard done by. Maybe he should have come on for 20 minutes. Maybe he should have come on for half an hour, but they did score 3 goals. And he's lost his head. And he thinks he's bigger than the club. And he's come out and made it about him. And actually, I think the timing of it's really, really bad. I also think he's been playing bad. And I also think we had this with Rooney at United. Pep's got rid of De Bruyne. You know, doesn't matter how good you are. Doesn't matter whether you're the best player, the best paid player. If you're not performing, you don't just start, because that becomes about you. That becomes about being narcissistic. That becomes about favouritism. And if you want to be the best, you've got to try and pick the best. And Mo Salah's not been good enough this season. And his record is incredible, but he's not been good enough this season. And are Liverpool getting results without him? No, but they're not getting results without him because they're not bloody keeping clean sheets, are they? And Salah is not the player he was. You're telling me if Salah was the player he was last year, Arne Slot would have him on the bench, and that's the mic drop, isn't it? You know, we can go round the roundabout as many times as we want, but if Mo Salah was playing anywhere near as good as he was last season, he wouldn't be sat on the bench. So for him to be coming out saying he's being made the scapegoat, he's being, you know, held up as the person to blame, in a way, is that not what happens when you're the best? Like, you know, you want all the plaudits when you're the best, but then when the team's losing, you don't want it to be about you. But like Mo Salah, when you are the best, you take that Liverpool team to a different level. And you've done it for the last however many years. And when you're not performing, people are going to go, well, it's because of Mo Salah. Because simply you are amazing as a player. You get goals, you get assists. And when you take that off the team, you get what you get now. If they had a great Mo Salah yesterday, doesn't matter whether Leeds score 3 because Liverpool probably score 6. So, of course you're going to get the blame in a way because you are the best player in that team and you are the player that's outscored Haaland, etc. So when you don't do it, people are going to give you the blame. I take it as a bloody compliment. You know, nobody's giving Chiesa the blame, are they? Because he doesn't make that impact in a Liverpool shirt. So I just think it's like, it's a big moment in football because we don't get that very often. And it's also a legend of the game, a legend of the Premier League, a legend of Liverpool doing something that tarnishes that because it forces you to have to make a decision. And I'm no Liverpool fan, but I've backed Salah before and said, look, you know, he's underrated. He gets a bit of stick. He's a fantastic player. He's only human, but I think that interview is ill-advised. And ultimately, you want to be able to come back to Liverpool in 10 years' time and be cheered, and I'm sure he will do. And I think sometimes people just get lost in moments and make it about themselves and don't realise what they're doing for their legacy. Maybe they don't care. I don't know, but I think Mo Salah does. But that interview didn't need to happen. It didn't need to happen straight after a game, and it didn't really need to happen at all. You're not playing well. Of course you're going to get spoken about because you are the Liverpool best player and you're not playing well. I don't think there's any conspiracy theory about why you're on the bench. I really don't. I think if you were playing well, you'd be starting every single game and you're not playing well. And somehow you've got it in your head that you are being forced out. You are being, you know, made to be the problem. And that only works if you're the Mo Salah of last season and everyone's going, what's going on here then? They must be trying to cash in. I think from Liverpool's perspective, you're not playing well. And maybe they do want you to move on because they know you're not the player anymore. In which case, I can't argue with that. You know, we've seen Pep do that. If you're not the player you were, maybe Liverpool don't want to use you anymore. They want to cash in and buy somebody else. That might be a little bit disrespectful in his eyes, but look, I don't think this helps anybody really. I really don't. And we'll have to wait and see what the next chapter is. Liverpool have got to do a bit of PR work here. You don't want to see people booing Mo Salah, and I'm sure that won't happen. I think this is probably a sit around the table and a grown-up conversation about what we've just said there. You sit him in a room and you go, look, if you can be the player you were last season, you're straight back in the team. If you can't be that player, and we've come to the end of the road, then it's goodbye, but let's do it in a way that's respectful to you and the club. And I think that's what needs to happen, because this what happened last night is, you know, I don't think it's good for anybody really, and I think it's an overreaction from Salah. Get your comments in. Smash a like on the video, make sure you subscribe, and it'll be interesting to read your comments on it. Take care, everyone. I'll speak to you all in a bit.